We're going to reach this milestone year of 2020. We thought it was going to be a great start to hopefully a great year. I'm Kip Maglunog from Phoenix, Arizona. For work, I teach, so I'm a teacher. For middle school and high school, I teach financial algebra, video broadcasting, and I am a volleyball coach. Belle and I, basically, we met at church, and we were like best friends ever since. She is driven, she's smart. She is very sweet to others. I always love that she is strong to her beliefs. She's a strong member. She'll always put her duty first, no matter where she is, no matter the situation that's going on. She'll always make it a point to perform her duties as a choir member. We both realized that we were meant to spend the rest of our lives together because of the connection that we had, the history we had with each other, our Christian values. We were both strong. So we got married on March 11th, 2016. I think a month or two after we got married, we found out we were pregnant. So we have our firstborn, Keluna. She was born on January the 12th, 2017. We felt so happy and blessed that God were to let us have a child, and kind of nervous and scared for the unknown. Times are going to be tough, and we know that because we are always going to experience hardships and trials, and if we have our strong faith, I think we can definitely get through these trials and hardships and difficult times.
Yan ang inaasahan sa mga tunay na lingkod ng Diyos. Kagaya ng ating narinig, kinakailangan anyang maging matyaga kayo. Paano po natin makikilala yung matyaga? Nagpapatuloy anyang ginagawa kung ano yung mabuti at kung ano yung tama. Hanggang kailan inaasahan ito sa kanila? Hanggang sa dumating ang ating Panginoong Hesukristo sa makatwid hanggang sa kanyang ikalawang pagparito. Ano po ang isang mabuti at tama na dapat nating gawin? Yung uri ng pamumuhay na hinahanap niya sa bawat isa sa atin. Pinamamahalaan natin ng tama ang ating mga sarili. Ginagawa natin kung ano ang tama. Tandaan natin mga kapatid, kaya tayo nag-Iglesia ni Cristo. Para natin masunod ang kalooban ng ating Panginoong Diyos, para mailagay natin sa tama ang ginagawa nating paglilingkod sa Kanya, para yung Kanyang mga kalooban ating nasusunod. Sapagkat yan ang pinangako ng ating Panginoong Diyos na pagdating ng araw ng paghukom, magtatamo ng kaligtasan.
We were actually visiting Las Vegas for New Year's Eve 2019. So the very first thing Belle tells me, she said, okay, we set up just a family photo shoot. It was just normal family photos for some shots of Belle and Luna and our family. And then I had to turn around and play with Luna for a little bit. That's when Belle had her pregnancy test, saying that it was positive. And I was so surprised and super excited. Oh man, we're starting off the year, having baby number 2. And we were so excited for Luna to have a baby sister or brother. Personally, I experienced my own trial in March of 2020. This is going to be our 4th year anniversary. I woke up that morning with vision loss. So I had half my vision in my left eye completely black. And I got to see our friend who is an optometrist, and she referred me to an ophthalmologist. He told us that I had a retinal detachment, and my vision was already 90% gone, and I needed to have emergency surgery right away. So this was a shock to both Belle and I. I mean, obviously you need your eyes to see, especially in the duty that I was, district booklet sports. And her concern is that she was afraid that I wouldn't be able to see anymore and not see my daughters grow up. Being prayerful is one of the most important things, especially in times like these.
Ang Panginoon, merong hinahanap doon sa kanyang tagapaglingkod. Ano yung hinahanap sa kanyang tagapaglingkod? Nagagawa niya yung gawain na ibinigay sa kanya bago dumating daw sino? Ang Panginoon. Sino ba ang Panginoon na muling paririto, mga kapatid? Ang ating Panginoong Hesukristo. Sa makatwid, yung mga ipinagkatiwala sa ating gawain na dapat nating gawin, dapat ginagawa natin yon. Tinutupad natin yon. Hanggang sa dumating ang ating Panginoon. Alam nyo, dapat abutan tayo ng ating Panginoong Kristo. Aktibo tayong Iglesia ni Cristo. Kasi ang gusto ng Diyos, maligtas tayo. Huwag masayang yung ating kahalalan. Pero paano po mangyayari yun? Kailangan makita sa atin yung pagtityaga. Natutupad natin yung mga gawain ipinagagawa sa atin ng ating Panginoong Diyos, sapagkat yan ang makatitiyak na magtatamo ng kanyang inaasahang pangako ng Diyos. Kaya kinakailangan, mga kapatid, tayo makarating doon sa hangganan. Magtiyaga tayo sa pagdadala ng ating pagkaiglesia ni Cristo. Tinutupad natin yung mga gawain na dapat nating gawin na ipinagagawa sa atin ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Ano dahilan? Magkakaroon niya yan ng malaking resulta. Isipin ninyo yun, magagawa natin na tayo ay makalapit sa Diyos. Kailan yan? Pagka nagagawa natin yung gawaing ipinagagawa sa atin ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Pagka nakikita sa atin yung bunga ng gawain nating pagsunod sa utos ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Pagka tayo lumapit sa Diyos, diringgin niya yung ating mga panalangin. Ibibigay niya yung ating pangangailangan. Di ba napakalaking bagay nun? Lalo na sa panahong ito.
I remember the surgery finished and I was discharged right when the worship service was going to begin. I was just thankful that we were able to still attend, and it kind of gave me the strength of faith that I think everything was going to be okay afterward. So we were in Las Vegas in the middle of June. We were there for our nephew's high school graduation. So we're going to have a normal day with the kids. Right before we were about to leave, Sister Belle had a huge headache. Her cousin, who's a nurse practitioner, was checking her blood pressure. Everything seemed fine at the time. We just both decided, okay, you guys can go ahead. I can stay with Belle. I was out in the living room. She was in the bedroom. and she called my name. She said, "Hey kid, come here." So right when I walked into the door, she actually rolled off the bed and started having seizure-like symptoms. She had a hard time breathing. She couldn't open her eyes, and I just decided to call 911. Come to find out that when we arrived at the hospital, Belle already had the CT scan, and it was revealed that she did have a very large aneurysm that burst in her brain. The surgery that she had to go through, they coil the brain aneurysm, and they had to have a C-section team available in case something went wrong. The neurosurgeon mentioned that they found more bleeding in the brain. They had to do a craniotomy, which was they had to take out the right side of her skull to relieve the pressure. He mentioned that 50% of the people who have the aneurysm that she has don't make it to the hospital. 50% of those people that make it to the hospital don't make it to the operating room, and 50% of those people after surgery don't make it. So he basically told us that she wasn't going to make it, and we right after he told us that news, we just prayed, and we got to see her right before that, the craniotomy, and it was a time where COVID was very rampant, and they were very strict on the visitor policies, but the hospital staff believed that this was the end of life surgery, and they let us all into her hospital rooms. They let us pray with her before the surgery, and she was very responsive before, so she was able to hold our hand and squeeze our hand, tell each other we love each other. I remember during one of the prayers from her cousin, who's a head deacon, he said, "Whatever happens, this is your will. So if it's her time to go, that's it. We accept that." So we never lost faith, and we always accepted whatever God had planned for us.
Kaya hindi tayo dapat mawala ng pag-asa pagka may problema. Ang isipin lang ninyo, meron akong Diyos. Tunay ang aking Diyos na sinasampalatayanan at hayag sa buhay ng Iglesia yung kanyang pagtulong. Hindi maaring, hindi rin mahayag sa ating buhay. Ano lang ang kinakailangan? Kagaya nga ng sabi ng Biblia, kaya ang Diyos, pagka nalugod sa atin, ibibigay sa atin yung ating pangangailangan. Dapat nagagawa natin yung nakalulugod at nakasisiya sa ating Panginoong Diyos. Kinakailangan gawin natin yung totohanan, yung tunay na pagsamba, sapagkat napakalaki ng magagawa niya. Para lang sa ganon, iligtas tayo ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Tulungan tayo ng anghel din ng Diyos sa lahat ng ating mga pangangailangan. Mga kapatid, nasa inyo ang lahat ng sandata para natin labanan ang mga suliranin, ang mga bagabag, ang mga kapighatian na nasasagupa natin sa ating buhay. Ang kinakailangan lang gamitin. Paano po natin gagamitin? Magtiyaga tayo sa pagsunod, sa paggawa ng mabuti, sa paggawa ng kung anong tama, sa paggawa ng kung ano ang nakapagdudulot ng kasiyahan sa Diyos. Sapagkat pagka ginawa natin yan, hindi tayo pababayaan ng ating Panginoong Diyos.
A week later, she had another stroke where she had a medically induced coma and be intubated along with an unborn child. And then the doctors having to tell me, if something happens with your wife, if something happens with the child, you have to choose. We continued our prayers every night. Every night before I left, every time I visited, I always prayed with her. Her cousins prayed with her. Her parents went and prayed with her. The deaconesses who took the time to anoint her, they prayed with her. And we just left it all up to God.
Ganyan ang paninindigan ng mga tunay na Iglesia ni Cristo, ng mga tunay na hinirang ng Diyos. Kahit na anong kanilang masagupa, hindi sila hihiwalay sa ating Panginoong Kristo. Ano dahilan? Sapagkat lubusan anyang lagi nilang malulupig ang lahat ng mga yon na kanilang masasagupa. Ang asahan natin, yung lakas na magmumula kanino? Sa Diyos. Yung tulong na magmumula sa Kanya. Kasi pagka ang bagay ay imposible, sino lang ang maaaring makatulong? Sino lang, mga kapatid? Ang Diyos. Kasi ang Diyos natin makapangyarihan sa lahat. Tunay ang ating Diyos. Kahit patay, pwede niyang buhayin. Kaya kung napakabigat ng suliranin, magaang lang sa Diyos yun. Kung yung patay, pwede niyang buhayin. Kaya niyang lunasan yung problema na ating nasasagupa. Ang kinakailangan lang, huwag yung sarili natin ang ating asahan, kundi sino? Ang ating Panginoong Diyos. Mga kapatid, sana ganyan ang maging katangian ninyo. Yung kumpiyansa sa ating Panginoong Diyos, hindi nawawala. Kasi gaano man kabigat ang ating nasasagupa, may solusyon. Pero tayo ang makagagawa ng solusyon, hindi po. Sino? Ang Diyos. Pero kailan natin matatamo yung pagtulong ng ating Panginoong Diyos? Gawin natin yung ipinagagawa niya sa atin. Sundin natin yung kanyang mga kalooban. Sapagkat pagka nalugod siya sa atin, hindi po tayo mabibigo sa kanyang mga pangako. Ibibigay niya sa atin yung ating pangangailangan. Makalalampas tayo sa lahat ng ating dalahin. Makararating tayo sa hangganan.
At the end of the week, the doctors have decided to schedule her C-section the Friday, June 26th.
Gigi was born 30 weeks. She was 2 pounds. Everybody was doing well after the birth.
Belle was approved to be transferred at the end of July. Gigi was approved to be transferred the day after Belle was transferred to Phoenix. Our current situation right now is we're still trying to survive. We're not completely out of the woods yet. Her doctors are still very hopeful that she's going to gain full mobility, especially with all of the prayers and anointing of oil. With the faith that we have, we believe that she will get back to 100%.
I'm just very grateful that I have the opportunity to be home.
What's something you look forward to out there once the pandemic is over?
Really, it's going back to the chapel and worshiping, hopefully performing again.
I am so inspired by my wife. Through the 110 days that she was in the hospital, she could have just given up. And it's just so inspiring to see my wife fight through the things that she had to fight through, to be here for her kids, to be here for me, to be here for her family. I'm so happy and so blessed to have a wife who is so strong physically, who's mentally strong, and who's strong in the faith. It is definitely a blessing to hear the executive minister preach, especially because we are still able to attend worship service. Thank God. We are still able to even hear the executive minister, especially in the midst of a pandemic. It just shows the type of person he is, because He's willing to show His love and care and continue to give us the guidance we need in His life, because the lessons are so timely. Through the midst of the things that are going on with our family and with the pandemic, we promise to continue to perform our duties as church officers, to not only strengthen the faith of my family, to lead them in the proper way of serving God, but also helping and inspiring our fellow members to have the strong faith no matter the trials that they've experienced.